Welcome to the program. Manifestly inadequate, justice denied. Just some of the angry responses after a 9-year sentence was given to a Melbourne man for killing his wife after he had first carried her coffin and lied to police about the brutal crime. The mystery of Karen Restevsky's 2016 disappearance stayed in the headlines for months, and few were surprised when her husband, the prime suspect, was eventually charged with her killing. Boris Restevsky dumped his wife's body in the bush and has never explained why or how he killed her. But he will be eligible for parole after 6 years behind bars. Samantha Donovan reports.
Karen Restevsky's relatives still don't know why her husband killed her, nor what she went through in her final moments. Her brother, Stephen Williams, says today's sentence gives them no comfort and sends a poor message to the community about domestic violence.
Nothing was going to bring Karen back, but today was about justice, and we didn't get justice today at all. So as a society, at some stage, we will, in regards to domestic violence, make a stand. Again, wasn't today at all.
The Peak Body Domestic Violence Victoria has commended the police and prosecutors for getting the case to court, but of the sentence says,
"Today we received the message that taking a woman's life is worth 6 years of a man's life in prison, and this does not feel like justice for Karen Restevsky and for those who loved her."
The sentence has even attracted the criticism of a Victorian government MP. In a tweet, Philip Dalidakis describes it as manifestly inadequate and says it's no wonder people keep losing confidence in the judiciary. Restevsky was originally charged with murder, but on the eve of his trial pleaded guilty to manslaughter. In sentencing him, Supreme Court Judge Christopher Beale said Mrs Restevsky was killed in the family home after her 21-year-old daughter Sarah had left for work.
Within a couple of hours of Sarah's departure, you had killed your wife, disposed of her body in a forest in the Macedon Regional Park, and started down a road of deceit that you were to continue on for nearly 3 years. You have not taken the high road of full and frank disclosure consistent with true remorse. When Karen's body was eventually discovered after 8 months, and she was finally given a proper funeral and burial, you acted as a pallbearer, playing the part of the innocent, grieving widower.
Justice Beale accepted the defence's argument that Restevsky's deceitful conduct after he'd killed his wife shouldn't dominate his decision on the sentence.
But it is still fair to say that your disposal and concealment of Karen's body and the many lies you have told, worst of all to your daughter, constitute a circumstance of significant aggravation.
The prosecution had argued that on the spectrum of manslaughter offences, this killing was at the upper end, even though there's no information on how Karen Restevsky actually died. The offence was made worse, it argued, because of Restevsky's deceit, the fact that it was a case of domestic violence committed in the home, and the breach of trust was made greater by the fact the couple had been married for 27 years. But the defence argued it was a mid-range offence, partly because there hadn't been a history of domestic violence in the relationship. The judge accepted that the Restevskys' 27-year marriage didn't necessarily make the case one of the worst examples of domestic violence, but said the length of union can magnify the breach of trust in this sort of case. Justice Beale.
This is a serious case of domestic violence, notwithstanding its isolated character, because it resulted in your wife's death. Second, Karen was not only your wife, she was the devoted mother of your daughter Sarah. Third, Karen was killed by you by an unlawful and dangerous act in her own home, a place which should have been a sanctuary for her. Your wife was 47 years of age and in the ordinary course of events should have lived for many more years.
Given the time he's already spent behind bars, Boris Restevsky can apply for parole in less than 5 years.
Samantha Donovan with that report.